Angela was just 19, young, pretty, with smooth brown skin and tired eyes. She worked as a cleaner at Darlington Group Tower, a towering glass structure in the heart of Victoria Island. The building was tall, with glass all over, like a mirror that touched the sky. Inside, it worked men in suits, women in heels, and people who never looked at girls like Angela. Every morning, before the sun had fully settled into the Lagos skyline, she was already at her post, kneeling by the glass doors. At exactly 7:30 a.m., a sleek black SUV would roll in, its tinted windows hiding the cold eyes of its owner, Darlington Ease, billionaire CEO of the company. The moment the car stopped and the door opened, Angela's routine began. "Good morning, sir," she greeted softly. Without looking at her, Darlington would just lift one foot, the way a man lifts it for his dog to lick. Angela would bring out her clean white handkerchief. She would wipe the shoe gently, like it was made of gold. Then, without a word, she leaned forward and kissed it. Darlington gave a half smile, the kind that had no joy in it, and walked into the building without a glance. Angela stood slowly, avoiding the eyes of the security guards and receptionists who had grown used to the daily display. Some laughed, others whispered, while a few simply watched in silence. "She's kissing it again," one whispered. "Every day, like clockwork," the other replied. Angela stood up slowly, her knees stiff, her pride lying flat, like the mop she held in her other hand. But she didn't say a word. She didn't do it for them. She didn't do it for the money. She did it for her mother. She never imagined her life would become this. Living with shame, swallowing pride, and kneeling to kiss a man's shoe just to earn a few thousand naira each month. But she had no choice. Her mother, Mama Neka, was gravely ill and needed medicine. They lived together in a small one-room house where the walls peeled like tired skin and the roof sighed when it rained. The floor was bare, the mattress was thin, the air smelled of old clothes and bitter herbs. Mama Neka coughed every night. Sometimes she coughed until she couldn't breathe. She would hold her chest and her whole body would shake like a dry branch in the wind. Angela would run to her side, rub her back, hold her hand and whisper, "It's okay, Mama. Just breathe." One night, Mama had just finished drinking warm water with bitter leaf when Angela sat beside her. "Mama," she said softly, "who is my father?" Mama closed her eyes, her lips pressed together like a wound trying not to open. "My daughter," she whispered. "Forget that man. He's not part of our life." Angela looked down. Her voice shook. "But Mama, you always say that. What did he do? Where is he?" Mama turned her face away, facing the wall. Her eyes glistened, but no tears fell. "You won't understand," she said. "Just promise me one thing. Don't ever go looking for him." Angela nodded. "I promise." But inside her heart, something whispered, "Why can't I know? Who is he?" She looked at her mother's face, thin and tired. That face used to smile. Now it only sighed. 3 months ago, she had walked the streets of Lagos with a worn-out file in hand. Inside were photocopies of her secondary school results and a reference letter from her former principal. She went from one office to another, applying for jobs, begging even. Most times she was turned away before she could even speak. Then, one afternoon, she walked past Darlington Group and saw a paper posted at the gate. "Vacancy, cleaner needed. Apply within." Angela paused. This wasn't the job she dreamed of, but she couldn't be picky. Her mother needed medicine, food, and care. She walked in. The HR manager, A fair-skinned woman named Miss Ifeoma glanced at her without much interest. "Do you have any experience cleaning?" Angela nodded. "Yes, ma. I used to clean houses in Ajegunle." "You will start tomorrow. Be here by 7 a.m. sharp." Angela bowed slightly. "Thank you, ma." That was the beginning. The next day, she arrived before the building even opened. She wore a plain blouse, tied her scarf neatly, and held her handkerchief in her pocket. They gave her a mop, a bucket, a cloth. She was shown where to start: the ground floor, the stairs, the glass, the toilets, the corridors. Angela cleaned without rest. She worked like a river, quiet but always moving. Nobody looked at her. Nobody spoke to her. She was like a shadow in the building. She didn't complain. When she got her first pay, it wasn't much, but to her, it was gold. She went straight to the market, bought paracetamol, a bottle of palm oil, small rice, and herbs for Mama. At home, Mama smiled and whispered, "God will bless you, my child." Every morning after that, Angela came early, cleaned before others arrived, washed her hands, fixed her scarf, then cleaned again. Darlington passed her many times. He never looked her way. He walked past her like she was air. He never even said, "Good morning." Angela didn't mind. She was not there for smiles. She was there for survival. But one morning, everything changed. Angela didn't show up to work that morning. Her mother had collapsed in the middle of the night, coughing blood. Angela had spent the night searching for a nurse in their area. There was no money for a hospital. Angela cried. She ran from one house to another. "Please, do you know any nurse? Please help me. My mother is dying." The sky turned dark. No one answered. No one came. There was no money for hospital, not even for bus fare. Angela sat beside Mama till morning. Her eyes didn't close. Her hands held Mama's tightly. By the time the sun came out, she changed clothes, wiped her face and rushed to work. She was late, very late. As she entered the gate, her legs felt weak. Her head spun. Darlington spotted her immediately. "You, come here," he called. Angela stopped. She turned slowly. Her eyes were swollen. Darlington walked towards her in his suit, holding his phone in one hand. "This is not a market," he barked. "You think you can come and go as you please." Angela opened her mouth. "Sir, I'm sorry. My mother, she was coughing blood. I had to." "You're fired," he snapped without waiting. Angela's knees buckled. She dropped to the floor. "Please, sir, I beg you. My mother is very sick. This job is the only thing we have." Darlington turned around, took one step, then stopped. He looked over his shoulder. "You want your job back?" "Yes, sir. Please, I'll do anything." "Come to my house this evening. Wash all my clothes, my wife's too, and the children's, every single one. Then we'll see." Angela's heart sank. That was not part of her job. But her mind pictured Mama lying on the mat, coughing, shaking, sweating. Angela swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." Darlington walked away. Angela remained on her knees, then stood up quietly and returned to work. Little did she know that evening would be the longest of her life. That evening, she went to his mansion. It looked like something out of a foreign movie. Marble floors, glass railings, gold accents. Darlington didn't say much. He pointed. "There," he said. Angela followed his hand. In the laundry room, baskets overflowed. Shirts, trousers, wrappers, socks, towels, heaps and heaps of clothes. "Wash them all," Darlington said. Then he walked away, without even looking back. Angela sighed. She rolled up her sleeves. Her hands met cold water. Her fingers danced through soap. She washed and washed and washed again. Her back bent, her nails turned white. Then she heard heels. Tap, tap, tap. Madame Ifunanya entered, tall, elegant, with sharp eyes. She dropped another basket. "Wash these too," she said, her lips barely moving. Angela looked into the basket. Panties, Brasilia underwear. She hesitated. "Ma, I was only asked to wash clothes, not underwears." The woman scoffed. "You are just a cleaner. If you don't want to lose your job, wash everything. Or should I call my husband?" Angela wanted to protest, but her mother's frail face flashed in her mind. She bit her lips and started washing. When she was done, they told her to mop the entire house too. By the time she finished, it was midnight. She left quietly and walked back home. The next morning, Darlington met her at the front of the building. "My wife told me everything. She said you stressed her before washing what she gave you," he said. "From now on, if you still want this job, you will clean my shoes every morning and kiss them. That way I'll know how clean they are." Angela's lips trembled. "Sir, don't argue. Do it or leave." That was how it began. Every morning, Darlington would arrive and Angela would kneel, wipe and kiss his shoes. Inside, the receptionist froze. A guard shook his head. 2 junior staff whispered. She kissed it again. Every morning now, Angela stood slowly. Her knees were stiff. Her chest was heavy. But she said nothing. She endured. The next morning, the same thing happened. Then the next, and the next. She would arrive early, wait quietly by the door. When the SUV came, she would kneel, wipe the shoes, and kiss them. Some mornings, she forgot. Darlington would step out and shout across the lobby, loud enough for the whole building to hear, "Cleaner girl, my shoes." Everyone would turn. Angela would run forward, kneel down quickly, and do it. The whispers came again. "She still does it. She has no shame. Poor girl." Angela heard them, but she didn't stop. Because at home, Mama still coughed. Mama still shook. Mama still needed her. Angela carried her pain like a heavy bowl of water. Every step, every kneel, every kiss. It was for one reason only, to keep her mother alive. Angela swallowed her shame because her mother needed her. But something deeper was buried beneath all of it. A secret from long ago. A truth that would soon come to light. And when it does, Darlington will realize he's been humiliating someone he should have honored from the very beginning. Angela continued like that for months. Each morning, she arrived early, positioned herself by the glass doors of Darlington Group Tower, and waited for the familiar black SUV to pull in. When Darlington stepped out, she would kneel, wipe his shoe with precision, and kiss the leather gently, just as he instructed. It had become a routine, a humiliating one, but necessary. Some mornings, Angela could feel her knees trembling, not from the cold floor, but from the weight of shame. Yet she endured it, because at home, her mother was growing weaker by the day. Until one Monday afternoon, everything changed again. It was a Monday morning. The air inside Darlington Group Tower was cold and quiet. The lights above flickered softly. People were typing. Phones were ringing. Angela was mopping the reception floor, her back bent, her hands moving in slow circles. Then the glass door opened sharply. Heels clicked on the marble. Madame Ifunanya, Darlington's wife, walked in like she owned the air around her. She wore a red dress that hugged her like pride. Her eyes were sharp like knives ready to cut. She walked past the receptionist, past the security, straight to Angela. "Hey, cleaner girl," she snapped. Angela looked up. Yes, Ma. Follow me, she said. Come and wash my clothes. And the children's. They're long overdue. Angela didn't move. She stood straight, her mop still in hand. Her heart beat fast. Her fingers tightened around the stick. No, Ma. Ifunanya turned slowly. What did you say? Angela's voice was steady, like a river that had waited too long to speak. I said no, I won't do it again. Silence fell. The receptionist froze. The guard blinked. Two workers peeked from behind their desks. What did you just say to me? Ifunanya's voice rose. I'm not your house girl, Angela said calmly. I clean here, not in your house. If you need help, there are dry cleaners in Lagos. Gas flew like wind. Madam Ifunanya's eyes widened. You rat, you little rat, you dare talk to me like that in public. She pulled out her phone. Her fingers moved fast. Darlington, sack that cleaner now. She just insulted me in front of everyone. Angela didn't move. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just stood there, her chest rising and falling, her eyes wet but brave. Minutes later, Darlington stormed into the lobby. His face was red. His voice was sharp. Angela, pack your things. You're fired. Now. Angela opened her mouth, then closed it. She didn't kneel. She didn't explain. She turned around, picked up her mop and walked out. This time, she didn't beg. Not for shame, not for pity. She walked out like someone who had dropped a heavy load and decided never to carry it again. That evening, she returned home to their one-room apartment in Ajegunle. Mama was lying on the mat, her wrapper pulled up to her chest. Her eyes were half closed, her breath slow and weak. Angela dropped her bag and sat beside her. She didn't say a word at first. She just placed her hand on Mama's arm. Mama turned her head slowly. You're home early, my daughter. Angela nodded. Her lips were dry. I've been fired, Mama. Mama blinked. Why? What happened? Angela looked down. Madame Ifunanya asked me to follow her home, to wash clothes again, in front of everyone. I said no. Mama's eyes opened wider. You said no? You refused? Did you beg after they fired you? Angela shook her head. Number, I couldn't. I've had enough, Mama. Enough of the insults. Enough of the shame. Mama Neka reached for her daughter's hand. My daughter, I understand. But we have nothing. If you don't work, how will we eat? How will I get my medicine? Angela bit her lip, looking away. Her mother sighed. We will die of hunger before this sickness even finishes me. Please, my daughter, you must go and beg for me. Mama, no, not again. Mama reached for her hand again. Her grip was soft but trembling. You must go back. Go and beg. For me, my child. For my life. Angela shook her head slowly. Mama, I will go with you, Mama said. If you can't kneel alone, I will kneel beside you. But we must go. Tomorrow morning. Angela looked at her mother. Her eyes, once bright, were now tired and full of pain. But deep inside them was something strong. Hope. Angela wiped her cheek and nodded. Okay, Mama, we will go. And just like that, the decision was made. They would go together, to beg, to kneel, to try again. The next morning, they both dressed in their cleanest clothes. Angela wore her neatest blouse and a long brown skirt. She tied her scarf with care. Mama used her faded but clean wrapper, the one she saved for church and important days. They walked quietly through the streets of Ajegunle, holding each other like two wounded birds trying to stay warm. When they reached Victoria Island, the Darlington Group Tower stood tall before them, cold and proud, like it didn't remember the poor. The security guard, Emeka, saw them first. He stepped forward surprised. Angela, what are you doing here? You've been sacked. Angela stood straight, but spoke gently. "Please, sir, we just want to see Mr. Darlington, just for a moment." Emeka looked at the old woman beside her. He sighed. "You're not allowed. Wait outside." So they waited. 15 minutes passed. Then the black SUV rolled in. The tires whispered on the marble. The car door opened with its usual pride. Darlington stepped out in a dark blue suit, clean shoes, and the same cold eyes. Angela quickly dropped to her knees. Her handkerchief was already in her palm. Before she could even touch his shoe, his voice boomed. "Don't even try it," he barked. "You were fired yesterday. Leave this place immediately." Angela froze, her knees on the ground, her head bowed. Then Mama Neka did something that made the air stop. She knelt beside her daughter, slowly, her bones cracking, her wrapper dragging across the floor. "Please, sir, she's just a child. Forgive her. If she loses this job, we have nothing left. Nothing at all." Darlington looked down at the kneeling old woman, disgust on his face. "Look at this. Poor people. This is what they do. Always begging. Always blaming others for their suffering. Sir, please," the woman continued, but Darlington brushed her aside. "Get out of here before I call security. I don't want embarrassment today. I'm expecting someone very important. The owner of this company, my boss, a man of high class, not roadside beggars." Angela's mother tried once more. "Sir, please." "Security!" Darlington shouted. The word echoed like thunder. Angela and her mother stood up slowly and began walking toward the gate. Just as they stepped out, another black SUV rolled in, sleek, expensive, and dignified. The vehicle passed slowly by them. Inside sat a man in his late 50s, dark-skinned, clean-shaven, with commanding presence and thoughtful eyes. He looked ahead, unaware of the two women at the gate. Angela turned to look at the car briefly. Her mother froze for a second, her chest rising as if something gripped her from within, but she said nothing. They both watched as the SUV glided into the company compound. Neither of them knew that inside that car was the man they had spent Angela's whole life avoiding, the real owner of the company, the biological father Angela never knew. Her mother said nothing as they walked back home, but tears had begun to fall silently from her eyes. Angela never knew, and the man in the SUV never saw. Her chance to change her life had passed, for now. As Angela and her mother stepped out of the company's gate, a sharp breeze brushed past them. They walked in silence, both heavy with emotion. Their faces were low, their hearts were lower. They had begged, they had knelt, they had been shouted at. They were almost at the bus stop when Mama Naneka stopped. She held her chest and whispered, "My purse!" Angela turned to her. "What is it, Mama?" "My purse. I think I dropped it when I knelt earlier. It must be somewhere near where we stood." Angela nodded. "Let's go back. Maybe the security will let us in." They walked back to the gate. The security guard, Emeka, raised a brow. "Angela, again. What is it this time?" "I'm sorry, sir. My mother lost her purse inside. We just want to check if it's still there." Emeka glanced at the older woman, then back at Angela. He sighed and opened the gate. "Okay, be quick. I don't want trouble." They entered. The compound was quiet. Most staff were inside their offices. At a distance near the marble entrance, the small black purse lay on the ground. "There it is," Angela pointed. They walked briskly to the spot. Just as Mama Neka bent down to pick up the purse, a hand suddenly grabbed her by the arm. "Neka?" a deep voice called out. "Is this really you?" She froze. Her hand stayed mid-air. She turned her head slowly. Her eyes met his. she gasped. Richard? Angela stood behind her, confused. She looked from her mother to the man, not understanding what was happening. The man stepped back slightly, his eyes wide with shock. My God, he breathed. It's really you. Neka, where have you been all these years? Mama Neka couldn't speak. Her lips trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. Angela stood still. Her heart thumped. The man looked from Neka to Angela, and something in his face began to change. Something big, something from the past, was about to open. Angela looked between them, confused. Her eyes moved from her mother to the man. Mama, what's going on? Before anyone could speak again, the glass door behind them opened. Darlington came out, phone in hand, wearing his usual pride. He spotted the three of them. Sir, he said, walking closer, these are the beggars I told you about. They've been loitering since morning. Richard didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even hear him. His eyes were still on Neka. Neka, he said, his voice now low and heavy. Back then, the pregnancy. What happened? Did you keep it? Neka nodded slowly, then turned to look at Angela. Her voice cracked as she said, That's the child, Richard. I didn't abort it. I had the baby. Her name is Angela. Richard's mouth parted, shocked. He stared at the girl before him. Angela? He stepped closer, his voice shaking. You're my daughter? Angela's lips quivered. What? Mama, what is he saying? Tears rolled down Neka's cheeks. My daughter, this is your father. I wanted to tell you for years, but I couldn't. He was my employer. Things were complicated. Angela gasped. Her knees weakened. Her heart pounded like drums during a village festival. The truth she had begged for had just fallen from the sky. The father she had never known was standing right in front of her, and she had been kissing the shoes of a man who worked under him. Richard pulled them both into an embrace. I've looked for you for so long, Neka. I never stopped. Not a day. After we parted, I realized what I did was wrong. I wanted to fix it, but you were gone. Darlington stood there, dumbfounded. His eyes shifted from Richard to Angela to Neka. Sir, you're saying she's your daughter? Richard turned sharply. Yes, Darlington. The same girl you've been humiliating for months. She is my daughter. And this woman you just called a beggar. She is the woman I wronged years ago, and the mother of my only child. The silence was deafening. Staff had begun to gather around, watching from glass windows, whispering. Neka wiped her eyes, her voice quiet but sharp. You told me to abort Richard. You said your wife must not hear. So I left. I didn't take your money. I didn't call you. I raised her alone, with nothing. Richard looked down in shame. His voice dropped. I was a fool. I was scared. But later, I found out the truth. My wife lied. The boy she brought into our home, the one she claimed was mine, he wasn't mine. A DNA test exposed everything. She was using me, Neka gasped. So you're no longer together? We divorced years ago, Richard said. Since then, I've been searching for you to know if you kept the pregnancy or not. And now, after all these years, I find you here. And Angela, my own daughter, working as a cleaner in my company, being mistreated. Angela, overwhelmed by everything, burst into tears. All this time, I never knew. I kept asking Mama, but she never said anything. And now, you're my father? Richard stepped closer to her and gently touched her shoulder. I should have been there, he said. But I wasn't, and I can't change the past. But from today, Angela, I will never leave your side again. The wind moved gently through the compound. Staff inside the building were watching from behind the glass. No one laughed, no one whispered, because something bigger than shame was happening. A lost father, a broken mother, a forgotten daughter, all standing in one place, reconnected by truth. Richard turned slowly. His eyes, once warm, were now hard like stone. He looked straight at Darlington. So, his voice was calm, but sharp like a blade. "You made my daughter kiss your shoes?" Darlington swallowed hard. He looked smaller now. The proud shoulders had dropped. The voice that once barked at everyone now trembled. "Sir, I didn't know, I swear. If I had known she was your daughter, That's the problem," Richard snapped. "You only respect people when you know who they are. You value position more than humanity. That is not leadership." Darlington opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Angela stepped forward. Her voice was clear. Her eyes were wet, but her chin was up. "You don't deserve to be boss if you treat people like dirt, poor or not. Everyone deserves respect." Richard nodded. "You're right, Angela." He turned to Darlington. "You're fired. Effective now." Darlington fell to his knees. "Please, sir, I have children, a family. Please." Richard's face didn't change. "You should have thought of that before humiliating someone else's child." The guards at the gate stood silently. Staff inside watched through the glass. No one said a word. Darlington knelt there shaking, but no one came to lift him. And Richard turned to Angela. "Let's go home." That same day, Richard didn't waste a single minute. He called his driver. He held Neka's hand gently. "You're going to the hospital, the best one." Angela helped her mother into the back seat. For the first time in a long time, Mama didn't lie on a mat. She sat on soft leather with air conditioning blowing gently on her face. The hospital was big. White walls, quiet halls, smiling nurses. The doctors ran tests, checked her heart, her chest, her blood. They gave her medicine that didn't come from the roadside. They placed her in a clean room with white sheets, soft pillows, and warm light. Angela sat beside her mother, holding her hand, smiling. "Mama," she whispered, "no more shame." Mama turned her head slowly. Her voice was weak, but her smile was strong. "God has answered, my daughter." Angela kissed her forehead, and for the first time in months, Mama slept peacefully. The next morning, Richard returned to the company. With Angela beside him, he walked into the boardroom where directors and managers had gathered. "This is Angela," he announced, "my daughter. She will take over as acting CEO while I oversee restructuring. Let it be known this company is built on fairness and integrity, and no one will be treated as less just because of their background." There was silence. Then one by one, people began to clap. Angela's hands trembled as she took the seat that once belonged to Darlington. She breathed deeply. A new beginning. Her first task came easily. She issued a company-wide memo. Effective immediately, all staff must treat others with respect regardless of their position. Anyone found bullying or humiliating others will be sanctioned. And then, she signed Darlington's termination letter personally. 3 months later, Neka was fully recovered and moved into a new house with Angela. Richard officially introduced them to society, his wife and daughter. Angela, on her part, was sent abroad to further her education. She promised to return and continue building the legacy of compassion and justice her father now stood for. In the end, she wasn't just a cleaner. She was a daughter, a leader, and above all, she was proof that no one should ever be judged by their circumstances. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, Please like the video, comment what you learned from the tale, share with friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more African tales just like this one. Thank you.